So Brian Wang is joining us today because, yeah, I think Brian's going to be our regular Wednesday guy. Jeff
Mhm,
Lutz is off doing I don't know what, and
mhm.
he's promised he'll be on from time to time. But I think Brian, this is about the future. This Wednesday, well, every day when we talk about the good news, we
Mhm.
want to talk about the good news today. We want to talk about the good news in the future too.
Right.
So anyway, just before I was about to, get in touch with you to start today, I noticed that Bitcoin has hit an all-time high.
Okay.
Is it 111 some change? I don't know.
Bitcoin and Nvidia hitting all-time highs.
Yeah, and Nvidia too. But so Bitcoin 111,800. So all-time high for Bitcoin. I'm
Mhm.
guessing, Brian, you know so much more about Bitcoin than I do, but there's an awful lot of stuff going on now with Coinbase and Circle and all
Mhm.
kinds of ways to make Bitcoin more accessible, I guess would be the right answer.
Right.
Is any of this making sense to you at this point that it's going to just keep going up and up, or what do you think?
Well, there's the theories. One is that the Trump administration, Trump himself, is very pro crypto, pro Bitcoin. Um, he has his own coins, so they've made regulations more favorable to it. They got rid of SEC guy who was very anti crypto and Bitcoin, and they were doing all kinds of legal stuff, hounding Bitcoin, and suing the crypto companies. So, similar to the big surge that Tesla had, but since gave back up a lot, was before the election, both things were kind of suppressed, and then because the opposition went away mostly, and now kind of what the headwind became more of a tailwind to boost them along. So things are going good that way. And then there's always a long-term theories around Bitcoin that regular what they call fiat currency, promised money from governments is going to go bad. That if you, the theory is that the worse things are in the world in terms of debt levels increasing, that if there is a collapse, that the counterweight to that is the various forms of crypto.
Oh, yeah. So then the opposite might be true as well. So I have $10 worth of crypto. Maybe it's worth $20 now. I don't know. I
Mhm.
don't know what I paid for it. Actually, I
Mhm.
didn't pay for it. One of my audience members paid for it. So I have that $10 worth. But so if the economy in the United States goes nuts,
Mhm.
if we get this 3%, 4%, 5%, 7% GDP growth year after year, and the debt
Mhm.
goes down, down, down instead of up, 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 would that mean that necessarily cryptocurrency would be maybe a less successful product?
Less successful related to the doom scenario,
Gotcha.
but there's other ways it can do well. The other aspect of it is that it can also be viewed as a compute technology startup. It's kind of
Mhm.
like, the ultimate mixture of technology and finance together. So in that case, you grow with the economy. So there's a bunch of different ways to look at it, and it's kind of complicated. So it's different channels of it, so that okay, if the valuation from this part goes away, it can still do better. It's so the crypto bulls have it any which way. It's bad, it's good. Everything end
Right.
up being Bitcoin end up going up.
It
Um,
sounds like the way I see the world.
right,
Show me,
right.
show me something that I really like, and I'll give you the right reasons to buy it.
Right.
Okay, so by the way, folks, we will get to Tesla someday, but there's an awful lot of news that's kind of around Tesla right now, and
Yeah.
something that is definitely a Tesla related story is NVIDIA. Since Tesla has restated today, Elon restated today, look, Tesla is going to be the number one. He didn't say it this way. I'm completely paraphrasing, but with the way that Tesla is going about AI is going to be way bigger than the way everybody else is going about AI in terms of digital only, where Tesla is embodied. So, what do you think about NVIDIA hitting its all-time high today, being the first company ever to be over 4 trillion? Uh,
Mhm.
and I'm guessing you think this will probably just be up and to the right from here as well.
Yeah, I see NVIDIA continuing. They went from 4 million of their most advanced GPUs last year, and now it's looking to have 7 million this year. And that there's a TSMC forecast to get to 50 million, maybe not all NVIDIA chips, but advanced chips in 2030. So that could be another 7x from here to 2030, just on the volume of chips being produced. And then I'm of the belief that something that happened tonight, 8 p.m., so like 7 hours, the release at the time I recorded this, the xAI Grok 4 will be released. And that, if it's really, really good, will show that scaling the pre-training still matters. Going to the equivalent of 400,000 H100s at the Memphis data center, if we get a lot of results from that, would show that scaling a large coherent data center matters. And that would be positive for NVIDIA.
Yeah, so you mentioned that was going to be the next one on my list was going to be the Grok announcement tonight. So we have Grok coming out. What are you looking for? What are going to be some of the benchmarks or some of the metrics or some of the features or benefits that you're going to be looking for tonight out of Grok?
So the rumored numbers, which we don't know if they're confirmed or not, so we'll see if the rumored leak was correct or not. So there were before numbers from that, which was that there's a humanities last exam, which was a set of questions specifically made to be, the hardest kind of test that you could make. And the best models could get to about 21% up to this point. The rumor is that a reasoning version of Grok 4 can get to 45% and a non-reasoning 35%. So it'd be huge progress there. It would also get to the best in several other major test scores, the 𝐓𝐴 getting to 87, 88%, depending on which model you're using. And then the coding scores, SW benchmark, getting up to, 70-some%. Again, two leading numbers. So see if those numbers are confirmed or better. And then also seeing if the overall ELO scores, which is there's an overall model against model count ranking. Typically, they have a secret unnamed version of the model that gets onto those things that gets compared. And so then all the people who mainly use that can then do a kind of voting comparison. I like this model versus I like this model. And then if you have a better score, kind of like chess, where you can have two players play and then based on their winning percentages, you get a score. Anyway, so if we can get substantially over the lead of the Gemini Google models on that, that's something I'm looking for. Because that is a more broad-based comparison of people comparing it who actually use the models.
Okay, so then they're putting this on at 8 o'clock California time, Pacific time, which is 11 o'clock Eastern. And my friends in Florida and in South Carolina are kind of sad about that. Why do you think that they put it on at such a late time?
I think it's based on what's convenient for Elon and his team. So I think that's mainly what it is. And they're probably mostly Silicon Valley based. So it's kind of like, okay, they're done their work day. They want to have another good day of like test runs. They said they had to do one more run over the weekend in terms of like a training run. And so then they'd be testing it, probably making sure it doesn't say something like it's Mecha Hitler, like the Grok 3 model did. So
some people are suggesting that Mecha Hitler thing might have been a Chinese kind of a, what do you call it? Some kind of a hack.
Okay. You need to be able to counter the hacks. So no matter what other people do, you should need to, yeah.
I did go in and test Grok this morning. After that, however that happened, I did go in and ask it a Holocaust question, and it got the Holocaust question exactly correct. So I
Yeah.
don't know whether it's been corrected or what,
Hmm.
or there was anyway, whatever is going on there. So the other thing that Elon had mentioned was that this is going to be a gaming studio introduction tonight or something, uh,
Hmm.
which would suggest that maybe they've got some kind of a, and he said that he was expecting games to be coming out of the gaming studio. This would be something where people could go in and start, I guess, designing their own games in the gaming studio. And he said it was expected, but he talked about not expecting games to be coming out of the studio ready for retail until I think he said 2027. Is that what it was? But talk to us more about that if you know.
I don't know specifics of that other than we have used large language models to create small games, like like creative versions of Angry Bird or some other or Floppy Bird. But previously, they were saying that it wasn't um, that innovative because there's a lot of this source code, actual the actual code for the particular games available. So it's a question of like how much more productive is this for that capability, which is something we need to see. Um, Elon does play a lot of games, so he probably has some insights into what he thinks, how to apply AI to do that. And it's a more novel version of instead of just doing straight up videos. So you can do videos and they can use that as a kind of like variation to have more dynamic and to have a gaming component to it. Um, Also, they have used the models a lot for modeling the physical world.
Hmm,
So if you have real life physics or be able to do variations on that for a game,
right.
that would be useful for many kinds of realistic games, that where you have first person shooter and then you're running through a world that's supposed to be our world, then if you have the physics there. So it's useful, I think, in many ways to push the capabilities. And also gaming is, I think, video games are about two or three times the value of TV entertainment
Right, right. It's a big
in
business
movies.
now.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting gamification to become even bigger. And Elon has a big investment in and interest in education. And
Mhm.
I see a future, and lots of other people, I'm not certainly the first to say it.
Mhm.
Lots of folks see that gamification starting even preschool, but certainly going even to college level, that gamifying education would be a big deal, and therefore a game studio like this could allow uh, education folks that are interested in education to make games a lot less expensively in order
Mhm.
to use them in the educational sphere. Do you think?
Yeah, and also there's things like there's limited content for fictional movies, where if you have a game version of it, it's something that is more extendable and something that I think provides more room to play in terms of what you can do and how you can expand things.
All right. Well, staying with X, we also had the news today that Linda Yaccarino has left after helping Elon to turn the company around. She was very complimentary and said it was a very exciting time and that she enjoyed her time. She gave no reasons for leaving, like going back to spend time with her family or her great aunt or anything. And so we don't know why she left. We don't know what terms. Elon gave a very terse thank you. We did thank her, but it was very a very male kind of a posting, Elon kind of posting, very like three or four words, like "Thank you, you did a great job" or something. Have you heard anything more than I have about reasons for leaving? Who's taking her place? Anything of that nature?
Nothing, well, other than the fact that XAI and X are merged
Right.
or on the process of merging. So then that would mean that, whoever was executive of XAI maybe, becomes, but the valuation was higher for XAI versus X. So then that would be something that would need another executive. The other thing is that they're going to be getting into payments, and Linda was an expert on advertising, and um, and the news content side. So that got basically resolved and fixed in those first 2 years. So her role seems less about the future of where they're going with a combined XA. So it makes sense to me that you know it's less of a role for her.
Right, right, right. Okay. Sawyer Merritt reports this. This is something that is right up your alley. He says, news logistics company ArcBest just completed a 4,500-mile Tesla semi pilot program. Over a 3-week period, the Tesla semi logged 4,494 miles, averaging 321 miles a day, overall energy efficiency of 1.55 kilowatts per mile. And that was an incredible level of efficiency, says Sawyer. ArcBest quoted, vehicles like the Tesla Semi highlight the progress being made, expand the boundaries of what's possible as we work a more sustainable future for freight. The vehicle performed well across a variety of routes, including the 7,200-foot climb over Donner Pass, generally matched the performance of diesel counterparts. Driver feedback was positive, with operators noting the vehicle's comfort, safety, and ease of use. Features like the center seat configuration, wide visibility, and intuitive controls contributed to the strong driver experience. So, anything to add to that story?
So I have a um, table of the efficiency of Tesla Semi versus other trucks. Let me just pull that up here
Sure.
and share it. Okay, so this I just updated as of today.
Okay.
So 1.55 kilowatt hours per mile. The best other one is a Freightliner at like 1.9 kilowatt hours per mile for a large truck. I haven't seen them update anything since this is the last number I had for them was probably like 2023.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't seen them change it. In 2023, Tesla was at 1.7 kilowatt hours per mile. So that's a 10% improvement nearly that they had. And so that's a huge number. And then last year they were at 1.6 kilowatt hours per mile. And they had talked about, these efficiencies being, like 1.6 being some future aspirational thing.
I see.
So is they've gone beyond like the 10-second 100-meter mile kind of thing. They're hitting really really great numbers. And some of the other trucks are a lot of them are in the uh, 2.1 kilowatt hour per mile, so they're like 33% more efficient, and then a lot of other ones at 2.63 kilowatt hours per mile. So these are huge because you can get a range you want, say 500 miles, from only 750 or 780 um, kilowatt hours. So you can save, hundreds of like 20, 30% of your batteries, which is huge, and which reduces your weight, which again gives you even more efficiency.
Right.
So I think these are, really a positive thing as they head into mass production, um, I guess later this year and next year.
So I've talked about your numbers to an awful lot of people, and for some reason, Brian, everybody thinks that you're really, really smart. Everybody thinks that you're a great futurist. Everybody thinks that you know everything about everything. For some reason, they don't like your numbers on Tesla Semi. So
Okay.
every time I bring them up, everybody's like, "No, there's no way that many." So
So what particular numbers they don't like?
so especially they don't like the 3 million per year internationally, the total that which includes, I know, large trucks as well as semis.
Right.
So they particularly don't like the 3 million worldwide, but they
Mhm.
also seem to question, I think, was your number 300,000 for US?
Yeah.
So the 300,000 for US, of which 50, if we make 50,000 in Reno, that would only be 1/6 of the market. And
Mhm.
I'm expecting Tesla to do way better than 1/6 of the market.
Mhm.
So have you checked your numbers recently? Is this still, are you standing by your numbers?
Um, I have not tried to change, the volume numbers. It's basically like how much are the large trucks that we're currently having, the diesel trucks, and saying, okay, we'd replace them.
Right.
If they're autonomous, then you could say, okay, there's only one-fourth the number because they'll be 4 times more productive
Oh, yeah.
operating 7 by 24. So that can be a way to get to um, lower numbers. Um, and getting the 50,000 per year and then going up to bigger numbers requires a lot of infrastructure build out, right? You got to do a lot of charging
Right.
in order to support that number. Because basically, 20% of our fuel, oil, goes towards running big trucks. They're running all the time and they're huge,
Mhm.
right? Um, Oftentimes only 10 miles per gallon or 7 miles per gallon, typically. And they're, um, you know, huge vehicles that are running all the time. Like they're running 100,000 miles. So it ends up being like what 30,000, 20,000 gallons, 15,000 gallons of fuel every year. So that's a lot of electricity to replace all that fuel,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So that is a build out which we have not seen happen in a major way. Um, so anyway, so the timing can then take longer because of the fact that one, we have not scaled up the trucks yet. So you
Right.
have to have multiple factories to get going to that big number.
Sure.
The demand should be off the hook with robo truck taxi solving robo trucking.
Yes.
So then there needs to be a lot of infrastructure build out, a lot of factories to make trucks and a lot of infrastructure to do it. So that goes to maybe it takes to 2035 to get there.
Right.
Countering that is that if we can get really efficient construction from the um, Tesla bots, change that construction because basically they're like a slightly smaller rolling megapack, right? A megapack has 4 megawatt hours
Okay.
roughly, and then this would have 800,000, so it's one-fifth of a megapack that you have to
Mhm.
make.
Mhm.
So then the volume that you're making for the batteries for megapack, you're doing something slightly more complicated, making a mobile version of that. So um, we're scaling up the megapacks pretty well, 3 factories there. So then you would get, I would expect to see 3, 4 factories there. And each one of the new factories being like, instead of like 40,000 or 10,000 megapacks in the first factory, 40 gigawatt hours, we think scaling 20,000, scaling to 40,000 from the larger factories with more efficiency on megapack side, then I would expect something similar, 50,000 semi trucks, 100,000 per year,
Mhm.
200,000 per year, scaling up as we go there. So if I was to project that new, I would say like some scaling similar to megapack scaling would be on the semi truck side.
Yeah, I'm a little bit I've refreshed my numbers on cybercabs, believing that they might be even 7 times more 7 times more use than a standard car.
Mhm.
Maybe more like 70,000 miles a year compared to 10 or 75 compared to 11 or something. But on the semi trucks, I think there would be a huge societal change to be able to get many of those to be on the road 24/7.
Mhm.
Because you need to change when the warehouses are open and when the retailers are open and when the manufacturers are the raw material suppliers, everybody has to be open 24/7 to be receiving these trucks back and forth. So
Mhm.
I think they will double and maybe more than double, but I think to see those on the road 24/7, I think is probably unlikely because of that change that would be required.
Yeah, possibly. But again, if you have a lot of Tesla bots, then
Oh,
the logistics work out.
that's
So
right.
kind of like if these things play together,
Yeah,
then yes.
yeah.
But in an ordinary world, yes, scaling is hard, getting the infrastructure is hard, making the changing all the roads. On the flip side of that is that if you have safe robo trucking, you can get to Audubon speeds of 120, 150 miles per hour
Yeah,
safely, and then every highway becomes a high-speed rail,
yeah.
right? So
And all of
there's
a sudden you're replacing rail.
we're replacing rail too. Yeah. So there's huge advantages to doing it. And, you know, given the fact that we haven't even started yet, taking a few years longer, 2035, 2040 to really get there. But, I see the economic value for doing it. So,
And then if Elon puts a boring tunnel from Maine to Greenland, and from Greenland to the UK, or to the shores of Tripoli, then all of a sudden we eliminate ships too.
But the thing is that, Boring Company still hadn't completed Vegas yet, right? Only did a few part of the trip. So those things are going slowly, right? At some point for these things to happen, there's some kind of big exponential inflection that has to happen. But it's, once some dominoes start falling in terms of solving the 4680 batteries, all that kind of stuff, then I think that's one of the main things is getting the dry cell that would then unlock that. And then I'm not sure what is the main thing that would unlock Boring Company to get it going. I know that they made some new tunneling machines
Right.
and having continuous tunneling, and so there's various innovations that they're doing there that will hopefully bear fruit with a rapid increase in getting the entire Vegas Strip hooked up with the boring tunnel. That would be a huge thing. And then to see a lot more um, other countries and projects going.
I think they did get a contract with Dubai.
Yeah, then you talked about it,
Oh, okay.
but
Sure.
they haven't broken ground or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. The Federal Reserve minutes came out this afternoon. They're now saying that I guess more than 50% of the members are looking for a cut. That doesn't mean July, but I guess people are pretty excited that it's now pretty clear for September. So the 30-year bonds dropped 7 basis points, like in a minute.
Mhm.
For the minutes came out and it dropped it anyway. And so that's a good sign.
Also the rumor, well, the statement from Trump that he wanted to see a 3% cut
No, no,
in the
yeah,
rate.
yeah, 3%, yeah, 300 basis point cut.
300 basis points, which the replace Powell, the schedule for replacing Powell is like May of
Right,
next year,
right,
right? So, we're like 10 months away from that. And the hiring factor is, will you cut rates? And
right,
clearly, cut rates a lot, right? He
right.
wants to get someone aligned on that. So, as we get closer to that, then Powell becomes irrelevant. Whatever this current Federal Reserve is doing becomes irrelevant. I'm not sure how it works in terms of like how much quickly that Trump can replace all of the members of the Federal Reserve to people that were aligned with what he wants to do.
Yeah, I think it goes over years, but
Right.
yeah, yeah. So it's going to take a
Because like Jerome Powell, like he technically goes from chairman just to an ordinary member of the Federal Reserve. So he's still there,
right,
but he's just no longer the one in charge.
right, right. Yeah,
So
we'll see if that happens. Yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, I thought that was good news. I am doing a very, very deep dive analysis on inflation rates. I've already done labor and I've already done housing. There is no way in the world that housing, no possible. It maybe people can go on X, look it up. I'll be doing a video on it shortly, but maybe people want to now and haven't seen it. You can go on X. You can take a look at my housing numbers. You can look at my labor numbers. There is no way that housing doesn't continue to decline, and there's no way that it will go up higher than what it is right now over the next 18 months because it's a lagging indicator. And
Mhm.
because we've seen the numbers coming down on rents and on housing prices, we got at least an 18-month window there where housing is going to be, which is 35% of the CPI,
Mhm.
is not going to be impacting. Then you got labor. Grok helped me. I did a bunch of analysis, and then I put it in Grok, and I talked back and forth with Grok. Grok thinks it'll drop to 3.5. And if labor's at 3.5, that is the Fed. That is exactly where the Fed wants it to be. And that would be very, very good for labor because they would be getting real wage increases. If inflation is under 2 and labor is getting 3.5, that's a solid increase there. So those are the only two I've done so far. Love to have people go try to poke holes in them. Offhand, do you have anything to Any way to poke holes or to say, yeah,
So far, the inflation numbers continue to look good, right? Like 1.66 or something like that was,
that's on, yeah, on Trueflation, yes.
yeah. So it appears that the concerns about inflation, and then when there's supposed to be announcement of like 7 countries giving tariff deals today, I didn't think that actually happened, right? There was rumor that that would happen,
Yeah, it's supposed to be a bunch getting tariffed, and then he also sent out letters to like 6 or 7 more. So
right?
the day is young. It's only 4:34 in DC. Maybe there's still going to be tariff deals. I did not see any new ones come across.
Right. But presumably tariff deals would then also improve in the inflation numbers and other aspects of the economy.
Yeah, so far we see zero impact of inflation, according to Amazon, according to Besant, according to the I forget 3 or 4 different people have come out who do these kind of stats and say we're seeing absolutely no impact of inflation. In fact, a negative. The products that come in that are tariffed are actually seeing negative so far in terms of inflation. So that's pretty interesting. Speaking of Amazon. Amazon is being used as a cudgel right now to say that, oh my gosh, the consumer is gone. They're not spending anymore because the Amazon first day of Prime went down 41%. I don't know if you've looked at it any deeper than I have, Brian, but the number is a joke. Don't
Mhm.
pay any attention to it.
Mhm.
Maybe the number went down, but it's also been expanded to 4 days instead of 2 days. So
Mhm.
people are naturally going to spread their purchases out over the 4 days instead of two. The more
Mhm.
realistic number for first day seems to be 12.5%. But I did want to send that warning out for those who are maybe thinking of panicking. And of course, if it was really, really bad, then I would expect to see it in the Amazon price. And the Amazon price today was where to go here? Amazon up 1.45%. So I don't think it's true. This is like the
Mhm.
first time that 𝐞𝐲𝐽 has let me down on the numbers and the analysis.
Mhm. Right.
Usually I buy their numbers 100%. It's just their analysis that stinks. But this time, and I really like them because I want to see those numbers, but this time their numbers stink. Any additions to that?
Yeah, it's doesn't seem to be anything to worry about. Like I said, it seems to be you make a very compelling case that it's a nothing burger.
Right. Okay. So here's my next question. This has to do with Tesla. Tesla's flat today, down a little bit, I think. Yeah, down like 0.65 of 1%. So it's been flat for a couple of days. We've got the earnings report in 2 weeks. Um, what do you think is going to happen between now and then and after then? Futurist,
Um,
Mr. Futurist.
yeah, so I think I'm hoping that with in a few hours with the Grok 4, that's something we'll get integrated in with a Grok 4 voice system that would it's supposed to be, I think, multimodal and have a coding version. So that hopefully would be a factor in improving some sales or at least customer experience and that kind of stuff. And then we have to get the new car model out there, which there continues to be um, a bubble of activity showing that they're testing some kind of vehicle. Um, so that should happen hopefully in the next 2 weeks. And then a robotaxi expansion in Austin is what I
Okay.
think
All
could
right.
happen.
So do you think we'll see much this week, the rest of this week, there's still like almost no breaking news in terms of economic news. Assuming that there is no actual news other than, let's say, nothing bad happening in Austin, which we're now at 17 days and nothing bad.
Mhm.
We have nothing bad happening and no breaking news of new products, et cetera, for Tesla between now
Mhm.
and earnings. Would you expect more of a flat situation, or would you think people might start buying into the earnings call?
Um, I think a range between 280 to 320, like the train range that we're kind of in,
Mhm.
seems likely. We seem to be kind of going um, sideways on that.
Okay.
Um, and then maybe a slight bump in the last 2 days, kind of heading into it, or nothing, and then a bump, from the call itself the day after. That seems to be the pretty typical, um, not that much happens kind of call.
Right, right. Now, this call, though, most people are saying, most people that I talk to, most people that are co-hosts on my show, for instance, think that the call has to be or will be a very kind of like a second quarter last year call where Elon's excited, enthusiastic, talking about the future and talking about all the things that are going to happen. He's now the president of sales, or not the
Right.
president, he's the, I don't know what he is, the head of sales for North America and Europe. So
Mhm.
so we're looking for an enthusiastic, positive, forward-looking Elon at the call, which could mean that we could see a better than average bump out of the call, out of the meeting.
Right. Well, there's a lot of things that are kind of percolating and expected for the second half. Supposed to get the semi truck production going. Supposed to see a significant expansion of the energy and megapacks, um, robotaxi expansion, and new vehicles. Um, so there is definitely a lot of positives that should be revealed in terms of timing and actual announcements for the second half. Um, so we'll see. So it should be, as you say, positive.
Yeah, Cybercab, a lot of castings, piling up the castings, tons and tons of
Right.
castings, the front and the back, piling up in the lot. Some people are saying, "Gee, they're going to start making some Cybercabs soon."
Mhm.
Now, I thought I saw official, but maybe it's never been official, estimates of when they were going to start ramping Cybercab, everything from the end of this year to the second half of next year. Do you have any, do you have any theories or understandings or special knowledge there? I thought originally we were looking for ramping the very beginning of 2026, but now,
Mhm.
now I'm confused.
So the the longer that it takes to get to some new interim vehicle, then the more it seems like it would make sense that Cybercab is more substantially delayed.
Ah,
That you would finish doing the work on the one
mm,
and then transfer design and other teams over to the other,
mm,
right? Um, it would only be positive if there was a complete reversal and saying, okay, we were going to bring forward and do whatever to have to fill capacity because we can make 3 million, 3.5 million cars by having our factories go all out, and thus we would have a new model in order to do that. Or they just say the Cybercab is going well enough, and then we say screw it, and we will go full Cybercab, right? Which would be that Tesla Bulls would view as a very positive thing, but it's if we're saying the realistic thing is that it's probably delayed. It's a difficult new thing to do, and they have not made some interim vehicle with the um, sheet molded compound, which is the kind of like plastic slash metal kind of form fitted thing that they have for the thing. So they haven't done several things that would indicate that they're on track to do something early or surprising.
So today there was an announcement, I think it was Microsoft, that they had done a quantum arithmetic. No, probably not. Well, maybe arithmetic. I don't know. You'll have to tell me because that's over my pay grade. So they did their quantum computer solved a problem that would take all of time. And I think they solved it in 5 minutes or something. So talk to me about that one.
So I haven't looked at that particular thing. When they do these quantum computers solving something that can take all of time or billions or trillions of years or like that, it is something that is particularly well suited for quantum computers.
Okay.
The nature of the physics, the thing just maps to what quantum computers do, right? But they tend to be a scientific curiosity, right? That, okay, I did something and, because it's applying against the quantum physics I'm doing. Thus, I can solve this problem because it just maps perfectly. But it is not useful for anything real world.
In real world. So in other words, it would be like counting the number of angels that can dance on the head of a pin.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some baryon thing, some kind of phantom particle stuff, and doing something there, right? So in terms of like the real world stuff, we're making progress there to solving real world problems beyond what supercomputers can do. Um, but so I would say that this, um, I'll look into it, but it's typically this category of stuff is another academic scientific curiosity,
Right.
but not something that means that you're solving. They are making progress on the other side, where they're getting to error correction, getting to the capabilities that can really apply the scaling that you need to do real useful problems. That is coming to roughly 2027 to 2030-ish is what I've seen when I've gone to the conferences related to that. And I can go over that in some detail about how they're scaling that towards getting to thousands of useful qubits that
Got
can
it.
do the work.
Got it. Got it. All right. And the last one on my list is that SpaceX loaded their new tube, their giant, massive fuel
Starship.
tube. What's it
Okay.
called? Oh, you didn't see that
I
one?
haven't tracked it, no.
So I think the thing that went wrong last time, maybe it's this massive tube. They
Mhm.
said that it actually holds more fuel than most rockets hold.
Okay.
Just the tube
Okay.
holds more. So this apparently is the repair or the new thing they needed to do in order to do the next launch. So anyway, that was
Okay.
also announced today that that was being
Successfully done. Okay, great.
successfully loaded. Well, successfully loaded, and then I guess you have to have the ground static tests or whatever. And
Right,
all
right, right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So anything else that I missed about Tesla? Any of the product lines that you're following that I missed or didn't report on?
Um, just waiting for the Megapack 3, the one that will have integrated transformer components into it so they can scale those things faster. Um, and that they can apply those to building out the data centers, that they're moving XAI is moving a natural gas plant from someplace over to Memphis. So a natural gas plant that someone else has built, they're disassembling it and then shipping it over to Memphis so they can get to the 1 GW, 2 GW of power in the next 6 to 9 months for this for their AI data center to have 1 million chips. So
So this is another part of the Elon Musk story that I almost have to write another book,
yeah,
another version, maybe an updated version. And uh, he does Larry Goldberg is starting to talk about Elon doing the impossible. So
mhm,
Trump does the possible very well, and Elon Musk does the impossible. I like his little saying.
yeah,
Everybody else is sitting there going, how are we going to get enough power? We
yeah,
can't build these plants because we don't have the power.
yeah,
And somehow Elon finds a way, whatever it is.
yeah,
And this is another example. I mean, he's taking apart a plant
yeah.
over in Europe, I think,
Probably over in Europe.
flying it, or I don't know, transporting it over to Memphis,
Probably
and,
a ship. Yeah, probably a ship. Yeah,
and then rebuilding it in Memphis so that he has enough
right.
power to get to his million GPUs going. I mean, this is
Yeah. But there's enough natural gas there to run it, and then there's, get everything, assembled, rebuilt is the yeah, it's a industrial thing. The other companies do some pretty creative work. A company called CoreWeave is one of the biggest AI data center builders, and they're building them faster than Google and Microsoft and Meta. What they were doing was they really started taking the crypto, the Bitcoin mining stuff, and then when with a dip in the prices of Bitcoin, then the value of whatever the Bitcoin miners would go down. They could scoop up mining data centers and then or scoop up used
yeah.
GPUs at the cheap because like okay, the crypto's crashed, and so then we can get this stuff on the cheap, and then they can get into position by having facilities already built, and it's just that kind of out of the box thinking that all the people who are going faster oh, if I have to order it normally, I have to build things normally, then you can take, years to do it,
Right.
right? But
Right.
if you say, how do I think outside the box? Elon's thinking outside the box all the time, and some other companies are doing that as well, and they're the ones that succeed, is to find what's already there, what can I repurpose and use, and then pull it over. Because if you have that much money, then and there's plenty of places where they estimated wrong. They built a plant, it's not being used that much, and and then you can say, okay, I have an extra probably only cost $1 billion to buy it used, right? Only
Right. Right.
$1 billion. But by spending $25 billion on the 1 million GPU facility, $1 billion on the energy, like I'm probably going to spend 10-20% of the energy. So having that solve is just a really good thing to do. So we'll see how much that can be leveraged. Like, are there even a few other plants out there that are available that can be brought over?
Right. Yeah. So yeah, because throughout Europe, what we're seeing is a conversion over to solar and wind at rates that are faster than any place but China. And as they're making those conversions, that means that some stuff is going to be, laying fallow. So yeah, there might be lots of opportunities like that around the world. Very, 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 very smart. This is why we follow you, Elon. So keep it up. We want to see more of the same. All right, Brian, I'm going to cut you loose because I know you got a call coming up,
Yeah.
but I'm also going to put this on pause because I'm going to check back in when the market's open and finish with, of course, the numbers. So thank you, Brian, as always, for jumping on, and we'll see you next time.